In the heart of Houston, a school where challenges turn into victories. Meet 4 young minds, their struggles unheard. Until now. Journey with us as we unveil their path from struggle to success. This is more than a school. It's a transformation. Unlocking potential. Breaking barriers. Decoding dyslexia.
During the middle of our global pandemic, as businesses were shutting down, schools were being closed, children were being placed at home, parents were trying to work, and our most vulnerable children were being left out. And it bothered me. We already know that over 30% of Houstonians are functionally illiterate. We know that 87% of our Texas prison system is functionally illiterate. Of that percentage, 48.7% are on track for identification for dyslexia. So there's a school to prison pipeline being built. I was being notified by a lot of family members. Their kids weren't being taught the way that they were used to them being taught, and they reached out for help. And so I thought, oh, okay, it's the middle of a pandemic. We'll just help a few kids and get them through. They were just going to be closed for a few weeks, and no problem. So we opened up our garage apartment at home to help those few kids. Well, in Greater Houston, word spreads quickly.
I knew my other friends could read, so I was like, why am I having trouble reading, but nobody else is?
When I met Carter for the first time, oh, he was such a sad little boy.
It was very frustrating, because I didn't know anything. I would feel like, just kind of like stay away from it, like it was a bad thing, like reading was a bad thing and stuff like that.
He would cry, he would kick the floor, he would stomp. His fists just clenched and pounding the floor because he couldn't tell me the alphabet arc, meaning put the letters in alphabetical order within 2 minutes.
When he went to first grade, I started to kind of notice a few things. It looked like he was struggling a little bit. I noticed that he wasn't sounding out words, his decoding, I didn't know at the time, but that his decoding was not there. And I already had my radar on because I know that my husband has dyslexia, and he wasn't identified until 7th grade.
Dyslexia in my mind, to me, was confused understanding that nobody else understood.
If you just type random stuff, that's what it looked like to me. It didn't look like anything anybody else would see. Everybody else knew how to read, and they were reading books and stuff like that. I didn't know what I was doing.
They got me tested and realized that there was something going on. I was elated. I was elated as a 7th grader to know that I'm not crazy. That, people think, how can you can't see that? Well, something I don't understand. Well, it doesn't make sense. How did I feel when I found out that Carter had dyslexia? I don't know. I was kind of like, okay, how do we get help? It's in the middle of COVID. The uncertainty is there. I don't know the avenues to go because when I got help, it looked totally different. The resources for a dyslexic person were kind of like not there. And of course, I don't think that they understood it.
She told me, read this word. I was like, no, I don't want to read this. This word, I don't want to read it.
Look at that word one more time.
What? Makes no sense.
And I just told him, it's going to be okay. You're safe here. We will work on this together.
Oh, you got that last one.
Harrison came to us. He's just starting. He is the most excitable individual I know about to want to learn.
This one?
That's like a piece. Sip.
Sip.
Not voice.
Now voice, so what is it? Sit.
It.
Sit.
Sit.
For me personally, I think there's always that worry as a mom of, how is he comparing to his peers? Is he able to understand the world around him? And so when he came to me during spring break of this year, he said, I really want to learn how to read. All my friends are doing it. I want to do it too. So I said, great, let's go with the basics. Let's figure out where your foundations are. And I just saw him lacking in those skills. And so I wanted to reach out and find a support system. And that's what Miss Tammy's done for us, is she's given us that support that we need so that he can grow.
So he's fresh. He's finishing kindergarten when we're meeting him for the first time. And then he attended our summer camp, and that's our reading readiness, where it gets them prepared for kindergarten. So he doesn't have the learning gap that some of our other students come to us as. So he's really unique in knowing that we're doing that early prevention versus intervention.
I can see him breaking down words, that he feels confident. I see him sometimes reading to his brother, and it really makes me happy to see that he's able to understand the world around him. He can, and he's figuring out how the world around him is working, and he's able to piece those informations around. I'm excited to see his confidence grow. Like, he wants to read. He chooses books over TV and iPad. So that's really a nice little encouragement there.
Not voice.
It's not voice, so what does the suffix ed turn into? So what's the word?
Hot.
Perfect.
A walrus uses its whiskers to find food.
Luke came to me in the middle of his second grade year. He was a brilliant young man. His vocabulary was off the charts. He's so well spoken. He understands and he can retain. But there was just something about reading to him that just wasn't connecting.
Luke, how did it feel when you would try and read in the past?
Stressful, discouraging. Those are the only two meaningful words I can think of right now.
When we worked with him to try to practice reading as he was in preschool even and kind of entering kindergarten, it was very different than with our other kids, because he would just push it all away and didn't want to read. He was happy to have someone read to him, but even kind of the starter books, he would just shut down.
His parents are amazing. They were able to, get through the system and around the system to get him the supports that he needed.
As soon as we had that diagnosis, I think we all had this sense of relief of, okay, there is a reason everything that we're seeing is happening. And there is a formula to how to get to the other side of it. So it's going to be okay because now we have an answer. Instantly, it went from full meltdowns when we would even just approach the topic of reading to, okay, yeah, let's try. When he started with Tammy being a second grader with kind of a halfway through kindergarten reading level, and is now just finished third grade with a halfway through fourth grade reading level. That right there kind of sums up how school is going, because that level of stress and anxiety of, can I attack this problem, has just disappeared. He knows he can do it, and so it just happens.
Now watching him complete his third grade year and completing the program, he's finally just completely independent. You would think you're talking to a middle school student.
I got frustrated a lot because my parents were trying to help me and I would just yell and yell and yell.
I met Lucia through a phone call of her mother. And you pick up the phone, you greet them nicely, and all you're hearing is just crying. So we found out that Lucia was just informed, I believe it was 2 days before school was out for the year, that they were going to retain her. She was going to repeat first grade because she didn't know her sight words.
I was about to repeat first grade. I wanted to be like the other kids, but I had to learn a different way. I fit in when it's quiet. I fit in when it's small. I go to elementary school. There's 24 kids in the class. Like, how does the teacher handle it? It's not fun.
This doesn't make sense to me, but we have summer camp starting, and it's going to be starting next week. D. What happens after D, though? A, B, C, D. Uh-oh. I told Mother, let me give you a notification, a letter addressed to you, the principal, and let them know that she's completed reading readiness, because they're going to put together a meeting called a grade placement committee meeting. They were able to sit down at the grade placement committee meeting with that letter, and she was able to enter second grade. That's it, made my heart happy. You don't want to retain a child for not knowing sight words.
During second grade, the entire second grade year, she came every single day after school. We took her out of school early. We had to advocate for her and convince the principal to be able to take her out half an hour early.
I put in every week. I got to miss recess, Tuesday through Friday and Saturday.
The entire school year she did that, and she just took off like a rocket. I mean, it just took so well, and she loves to read.
I love the books. I love the adventure. Anytime I open a book, I just love to read. I'll read for an hour.
It's really impressive, and Tammy has got it down to a science. She really knows how to get these kids to read, and it's amazing. It's really something that's special, and it's really touched our family, and it's really improved the life of my daughter.
In second grade, I passed on my first try. My teacher was so happy for me, and I told Miss Tammy that I passed my Renaissance test for reading. I gave her the biggest hug because I was so happy, because she helped me with my reading.
There's kids that are falling through the cracks that don't have the ability to afford a school like the Dyslexia School of Houston, and I wish that there was an ability for it to be in the public school system where kids that do need help, that don't have the financial means, are able to get that help.
She passed her second grade one on the first go-round. So I know what we're doing works. There's no doubt in my mind. But as I tell Maria, her mom, how many more Lucias are out there? What was it like, Carter?
It was different.
It was different. Remember the wall? What did we have? We had all of the handprints?
Yeah.
What was it? What was it like?
The desk over there.
The table was right.
Right.
Carter was my first student. He came to the garage apartment. His mom and dad made the sacrifice. They drove all the way from Katy. He spent 3 hours every single day. He was a whole nother person within just a few weeks.
And I learned so much in those 3 hours. That only took me a year to learn the things that I know right now. Yeah, I got better at reading. Like a lot better. I just went where I didn't know how to read till I do now.
What they're teaching is so grand that when he tries to get intervention at the public school, they're like, we can't help him. Because he knows more than the teacher.
He's so far ahead.
Like, we can't help him.
Yeah.
But we love him because in the class, he's able to help the other kids.
He started with us. He's the face of the Code Academy. He's the face of Dyslexia School of Houston.
To have gone from literally feeling like he was learning a different language to then be able to tell the teacher, actually, it's like this, that was everything.
You know, Hira, I've been thinking.
What is it, dear?
I'm tired of eating ambrosia and drinking nectar. Yeah, I was playing in my play. I tried out and I got one of the main characters that talks a lot. And I got Zeus and I had to read the play and things like that. It was pretty easy.
I remember when he came home and told me that he got the role, or that he tried out for the role of Zeus. And then when he brought the script home, I said, oh, okay. It was an actual script and he had 80% of the lines of the entire play. And the first thing I did was send Miss Tammy a message like, let me tell you what your boy did. Because I continue to whenever he does those things, I want to reach back this is all because of what you gave him and what the school provided him and all of these opportunities now, the foundation came from Dyslexia School of Houston. So we are ultra grateful for the experiences that he had there.
That was the same thing. Ambrosia and nectar, ambrosia and nectar. It's time for a change.
If you really think about how all of this started in the garage apartment and then it just kind of naturally grew into a storefront, then you're sitting there really seeing the results and thinking, this is way beyond me.
To watch all of the growth is just amazing. And Carter is always so proud. You know, when he walks back into the school, his chest goes, his shoulders go back. I mean, you know, he literally like moved furniture into the school with her.
Yes,
like, you know, I mean, they set up the garage, they went and got furniture and moved it into the storefront. So like he put his hands into that. And so now to see it, it's wonderful.
Beyond anything I would have ever dreamt. This is all research and evidence-based. Bringing in Scottish Rite Hospital curriculum. This isn't a Miss Tammy thing. And one day I'm not gonna be here. This will always be here. And the learning centers will continue to grow. They're gonna thrive because we're gonna build such an amazing cohort of individuals, just like I was brought into many years ago. And they're gonna continue that same vision because it's so obvious that it's working and it's what we need. We're filling the need.
I just get excited when Tammy talks about building out resources for teachers to come and for them to get educated on what to look for in their classroom, and then also how to help these kids, whether they have a diagnosis or not, just these little things that teachers can do when they see these struggles to help move these kids forward.
I would encourage anyone with dyslexia or dysgraphia or any of those things to reach out to Dyslexia School of Houston. It's the answer.
Any donation that you make to this school is a donation that you're making to your community and to members of your community. The better your community is, the better you are.
This is going to be the best thing for our economy. If we have literate citizens within our community, they're going to go into the workplace. They're going to bring so much to the table because they're literate. I always tell our students each and every day that they're going to create the jobs that don't exist today because they see things that we don't. They're amazing. If we can get them through this, they're going to be the future entrepreneurs. They're going to create those jobs that don't exist.
Congratulations! Today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have planes in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose.
You're a bee on your way up.
You'll be seeing great sights. You join the high flyers who soar to high heights. You're on your own way, and you know what you know.
And you are the one who'll decide where to go.
Today, you are mountain!